surrounding that controversy and some others with tonight's Bream team. Democratic strategist Kevin Walling and Independent Women's Forum senior legal fellow Mailman. Great to have you with us tonight.
Hey, Shannon, good to see you.
All right, let's start with this.
Having us.
Jen Psaki over at the White House answering whether or not the White House will condemn that leak. Okay, we don't have that, but here's what she said when she was asked. She said, I don't think we have a particular view on that other than to say that we certainly note the unprecedented nature of it. I mean, May invited to condemn and said, we don't really have a position, but it's unprecedented. Should they not say more?
Well, they absolutely could say more, and that's really the problem here, is the left has had an attack on the independence of our judiciary for years now. You know, President Biden even bragged about it, that he purposefully takes into consideration politics when he was a senator trying to pick who was going to be on the bench. And so now we have a Supreme Court that's really had an attack from the inside, and we need everyone to rally around preserving our nation's institutions, this most important institution, and instead they've chosen to shove it over the edge by turning this into a political stunt, by using the leak to their political advantage rather than saying we really need to focus on preserving this institution.
So the investigation into that leak is underway. A lot of folks feeling confident that there's a limited universe of people that we may indeed get an answer. The chief is certainly after that, the Chief Justice. But I want to get to some of the content of this leaked draft because the court has said it's legit. We don't know what the ultimate opinion will end up being. You know, if it stays together as these 5 votes, at least we know were for this draft at that time, 2 months ago, that Justice Alito was writing. But a lot of people have said, and the president said something about this could be used to keep LGBTQ children in separate classrooms. I mean, it really is sort of spinning out of control. Now, Justice Alito more than once in the opinion says this is only about the issue of abortion. Here's part of what he said. To ensure that our decision is not misunderstood or mischaracterized, we emphasize that our decision concerns the constitutional right to abortion and no other right. Nothing in this opinion should be understood to cast doubt on precedents that do not concern abortion. And Kevin, yeah, the president said, well, I hadn't read it yet, but here's what I think is going to happen. All these other rights potentially are going to go away. I mean, is that dishonest?
No, Jen, I don't think it is. I think there's a lot of people waking up this morning that are part of marginalized communities that relied and have relied on Supreme Court decisions with regards to privacy and the notion of privacy, which was so important to the Roe decision, to the Casey decision that followed, but other decisions like Griswold with regards to contraception, Lawrence with regards to intimacy for LGBT couples, and of course, Obergefell. So I think, as the president said, there's a lot of things that rely on that privacy notion and that jurisprudence that are now in question. And I think that is certainly a concern for a lot of Americans. And out of concern for, you know, we talk about is the president, you know, being truthful in these statements and things like that. When you had multiple justices likely signing on to this opinion, and we don't know what this opinion will actually say come this summer, who said in their testimonies that they believe that Roe is settled law, I think that is problematic when it comes to truth-telling in this country.
Oh, okay, but Kevin, you are an honest broker. I do believe that. I think our viewers know that as well. But they all said during their hearings that there is, you know, a long history of the court overturning decisions if they think they were previously wrongly decided. No matter how important those precedents were, they've righted some wrongs. If this group eventually ultimately thinks that they are, quote, righting a wrong, and we know even Justice Ginsburg was, you know, critical of the way that Roe was decided, not thinking it was the best legal underpinning. A lot of, you know, scholars across the spectrum, including on the left, have said it was vulnerable to this kind of thing.
Well, certainly, Shannon, and it's a good point. But, you know, I'm with Senator Collins, Republican of Maine, Senator Murkowski, a Republican of Alaska, who have serious concerns about what they were told by many of these justices, including Kavanaugh, Justice Coney Barrett, about precedents in not just their hearing, but in those one-on-one conversations where they believed that Roe was precedent and that it would be a serious challenge necessary to overturn that. So you have Republican members of the Senate showing real concern with where the court is headed with this opinion.
Yeah, and again, they had private conversations answers. We can't know, but we do know what they said in those public hearings, and they certainly left room. Okay, quickly,
Sure.
I want to get to some new numbers that are out on the president. Overall, his approval number is at 45%. Disapprove is at 53%. That's been sort of steady the last few months. But when you break this down by issues, he's in a lot of trouble. I mean, on a lot of big issues, from Russia, the economy, crime, immigration. The worst of this new polling, which is brand new, inflation, he's upside down by 39 points, May. How does the White House, and can they turn this around?
Well, I think they can turn this around by trying to rally everybody against not just Roe versus Wade, but against this parade of horribles that doesn't exist and won't exist, right? So, of course, they can't win voters on the economy because everyone feels the pain of inflation. They can't win on immigration. They can't win on crime. They can't even win on just seeming like a strong leader, seeming like a competent leader. So instead it has to be, well, Republicans are going to create separate classrooms somehow for LGBT kids and everybody else, which is, of course, so bizarre and so absurd and something no one has ever heard of or thought of before. So there's really no way for them to rally support around these poll numbers, around this situation. So they have to make up something else.
Okay, really quickly, Kevin, before we go, will this abortion issue be enough to overshadow all of these other things where the president's upside down by double digits?
Yeah, Shannon, it's a good question. I still think 188 days out from the election today that the economy is going to be one of the most critical, if not the critical issue, which is why you saw the president talking about debt and deficit reduction today, prescription drug reform. He's taking that message to Cincinnati, Ohio on Friday, because I think that is going to be the foremost issue come the midterms.
188 days. See, we can count on Kevin to know who's counting.
Who's counting?
Kevin
Who's
is
counting?
We'll see
We
if
are.
the economy does a 180 in that short amount of time. May and Kevin, thank you both.
Thank you.
Thanks, Shannon.
Coming up, did you know today is a holiday of sorts? We're going to show you how one airline is celebrating, and a couple caught in a massive hailstorm. Caught on tape. What happened to them next? The day's best viral videos are next.